Hello and welcome back to Corks and Controller, the show that's about Mario and vines, but not the vines he climbs, the vines in the vineyard.
I was like, the vines, oh my god. Dad joke 101. Mako must be proud.
I am Victor, and joining me is the cheesy counselor.
Victor, oh my god, cheesy count. I fucking love that.
There you go.
Cheesy counselor.
We knew we had to put it in the show one day.
Oh, we need to like get name badges or something. Like we could just wear
like
them,
we work here.
Like I need exactly, yeah, like a little Corks and Controller name tag. And it's like mine can be the cheesy counselor. And then we need to come up with yours.
Oh yeah. One day. But yeah, welcome back. This is a new recording session. A few of the episodes been banked. If there's any like, I think we had like one or two comments, but like anything that we didn't like respond to during the show, that's why, because we haven't recorded in a little bit. Blame Kalen. I'm gonna blame Kalen.
It is Kalen. Put a picture of him like right here.
Yeah,
the world needs to know Kalen.
But other than that, yeah. Welcome back, everybody.
Ooh, and quick tidbit on Kalen. When you put his name in there, be sure to put like the phonetics for Quaylon.
Quaylon.
So back when we were at that undisclosed working place or whatever, it's funny because I would like just test the limits of what that thing could recognize as your name.
Oh, right.
So I was like, okay, Kaylin's name is spelled in a very weird way, so I wonder how much I could butcher it and it'll still recognize the name. So it's like I did Caitlin, now paging Kaylin or whatever it was, you know? Mm-hmm. And then one day I'm like, what aberration of a pronunciation can I come up with to see if it'll get everything? And then one day I'm like, hello, Quaylon. And it's like, paging Kaylin. And I'm like, Quaylon. And so one day I'm just like, hey, what's up, Quaylon? He's like, what? And I'm like, well, that's how you... I'm like, that's how you come on the outro, my guy, you know? So, but anywho, yeah, sorry to throw that in there. So,
no, we're good.
Quaylon. I would spell that Q-U''L-A-H-I-A-N. Quaylon.
That's how you would spell it.
That's how I would spell it, but it's technically Kaelyn, I think, whatever. But anywho, that's
yeah. I had before the mics and cameras and the blinding lights were set up. I wanted to tell you a funny lawyer story that that kind of like perks in and out of my brain here and there. Even though it happened like a month ago, I think even more than, I think like 3 months ago, that I wanted to tell you about, and here it is. So, a little while ago, you may or may not have heard that Microsoft, the owner of Xbox, has pitched to acquire, to buy, what was it, Activision Blizzard, who does Call of Duty games, World of Warcraft, and all that stuff. So now they have to go through all the legal thing, because the FTC is just like, actually, I might want to block that, because that might be bad for competition and stuff like that. Consumer rights or whatever. So they go through this whole rigmarole, and
did you say rickroll?
Rigmarole.
They said put the rickroll in here.
Put the rickroll in. And naturally, Sony, a competitor, owner of PlayStation, wants to be in there and be like, oh, I'll testify too, because I feel like if they acquire this, they'll take away one of the biggest franchises in gaming history, Call of Duty, off the PlayStation. And so that's what they went to. They're like here's all the sales data that we might lose on if they buy things. And like Microsoft, a small aside, is just like, oh, we'll just write up a contract saying for 10 years, we'll still put Call of Duty on PlayStation consoles and whatever. Mm-hmm. Not part of the story. Here's part of the story that I think is hilarious. So, naturally, when you're in a lawsuit, there's a lot of things you have to disclose and file with the court, with the judge, and like all whatever the stuff. But being that it's a business and there are trade secrets or like just things that, they try to keep themselves to for whatever reason, those are usually redacted in the the documents.
Yes.
That you have to turn over to court. Now, the funny bit of the story that I want to tell you with, so we can have a nice chuckle at it, is the documents that they turned over that naturally get scanned and turned into PDFs and put into records for the right of the public to look through if they wanted to.
I don't like where this is going. Oh my God.
Turns out that the redactions on those documents were done poorly because probably either incompetent lawyer or some intern that they're just like, hey, can you do this for me real quick? Did not use an archival or darkest grade level marker.
No.
They used a standard regular ass Sharpie.
So you can see right through it.
So when it gets scanned and bright light shoots right through the paper, you can see right through the Sharpie.
Oh my goodness.
Which leaks and discloses that Sony pays, we already know that they pay millions and millions of dollars to have publishing rights put on the PlayStation exclusively and not on Xbox consoles.
Uh-huh.
Which is, a natural business tactic, especially in entertainment where they're just like, hey, well, how about this comes to stream before theaters, or like, how about this or that? Natural competition. But the argument was that Sony was saying that Xbox does that unfairly, that they're buying up consoles so they don't have to pay for publishing rights, exclusive publishing rights. They just buy them outright, and that way, they just pay themselves. And then Microsoft's like, oh, Sony does it too, and Sony's just like, oh, well, barely. But these documents are showing that they paid up the wazoo specific numbers of the business deals that they do, and I just thought it was so funny.
So they were trying to bluff, and it failed spectacularly.
Well, it's just like an open thing. They're just like, we know how much Sony pays. We just don't know the exact numbers. And it's just funny that now all their competitors and all the third-party publishers probably, like, even with partners, as you can probably imagine, even a partner who is just like, yeah, I had to pay this much, but like, it's a thing. But then now they can directly compare, like, hold on, why did you pay only $16 million for my publishing rights, but someone with a similar game, you gave them like $35 million. That's kind of weird.
Opened up a can of worms.
Yeah, so
oh my goodness.
Probably undoubtedly some things that somebody had to worry about now, but
I can almost assure you that poor intern probably got fired.
Oh, he did not have a job that day, yes.
One of the earliest things I learned, even working at a grocery store, was when you redact things, you do it on Adobe. And you use, the actual black thing, and then you print it out, and then you scan it in.
Sony is an old-fashioned Japanese corporation, so the American branch was probably like, oh, they want us to do it this way. All paper.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure those Sony lawyers are getting paid big bucks.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, you could probably buy like a redacting app online, for $5. And you could have just redacted things on your phone, like...
You could have done it at a bar.
Oh
just like redact stuff on your phone, just drinking. Someone looks over your shoulder. What is that? Oh, you can't look at it.
It's like to be a competing lawyer and be given that, Christmas gift. Like, we now not only know how, you're doing business, but we know the exact numbers of what you're doing. It's like, oh my God.
I think those were attempted to be redacted too, the specific games and partners that they were paying.
But if they did it with a Sharpie, oh, honey.
I just thought you'd love that. Our world that we've created here about media, games, and alcohol, and a little bit of lawyering. Oh, full disclosure, this is not lawyer advice.
No, yeah, no, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer.
Please consult your lawyer.
Exactly.
If you have any similar problems.
We're just talking shit about this beautiful thing because, procedurally, this is bullshit.
So I just thought, I love when our worlds collide that we can share on the show.
Oh, my God. I feel for that poor intern or that poor lawyer. Like, there are fuck-ups, but there are fuck-ups, and that's... Imagine turning over confidential information that people probably signed NDAs for. Oh, yeah. And now they're all out in the open.
It's just there. If you want to pay the small fees to see uploaded court documents in your public courthouse, go ahead. You'd see those numbers, baby.
Oh, my God. I just had another thought, but I can't say it out loud. I'll tell you after the show.
Although, actually, you can probably see it on free because that's how I saw it for free.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, I read a website that puts the PDF viewer just right there, and I'm just like, oh, cool.
There's this really cool guy. I can't remember his name. His name is Joseph something. He works for Slate Magazine, and he pretty much follows all these different lawsuits happening all over the country. And so he just posts a link, to every lawsuit. And I'm like, oh man, you are doing the Lord's work.
There you go.
It's like I don't have to pay no stupid viewing fee or anything. I'm just like, I want to see what's going on. Like, I don't want to get too much into it, but have you heard of Lizzo?
Yes.
I only learned of her because of a lawsuit.
There you go.
And my Lord, is that a lawsuit? Today, so, where to begin? So, poor Lizzo. All I knew about her before today's Monday. Yeah, so before today is that, she's a woman that plays the flute and happens, to twerk.
Yes.
That's all I knew. And then within the span of like 10 seconds, it went from, she's a flute playing, rap artist that twerks to, she's getting sued for what? Like, she told this person to do what on this person's what? I'm like, oh, lordy. So, and then I decided to Google who Lizzo was. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that. So, sure enough, first image is her holding a flute, twerking.
Yeah, that's what she does.
Yeah.
That's what she does.
So, and this all happened because somebody showed me the original video of her twerking today that was posted. And then that led to this whole bombardment of, well, she's currently in a lawsuit, for SA allegations. Yeah, it was just, I rue the day I had to learn these things. I really do. Like when I learned about fuzzy lips. We won't get into that too much, but if you haven't watched this show, I naively,
that is a gracious word for it.
Yeah, I naively believe that senpai and sensei were the same thing as hentai. Lord Almighty, was I wrong? So I was visiting some relatives and I was telling them about this gaff, and they're like, well, you need to know what hentai is? And I'm like, no, I don't. I know it means pervert. And they're like, no, I'm talking about the porn. And I'm like, what? I was not told this, because when Nicole was educating me here, she was like, it just means pervert. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go call somebody a pervert. But apparently, it's a whole line of work.
Oh, yeah.
If you've never seen fuzzy lips, I don't recommend it. It's not realistic, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. I mean, we've already said it, but, there's like the literal word hentai, and then what they use it for, and they use it to describe a certain category of animation.
Cartoon coitus is the best way to describe it.
All right, let's get to let's just skip right over that. Let's get to our future drinks. Victor, tell us what we're having today.
Oh, yes. So today I selected this little red blend made by Eberly. So Eberly is this pretty cool winery out in Paso Robles. This I picked up on my last visit there. So for any Penn State fans out there, so the owner actually played, I think, as a defensive back for the Pennsylvania State University out in Happy Valley, I think back in the 1960s. Well, anywho, he studied biology, whatever, then went to go work at some wineries, whatever. And then in the 1970s, came to Paso Robles and opened up his own winery called Eberly Winery. Owner's name is Gary Eberly. He also had a hand, believe it or not, in establishing the American viticultural area known as Paso Robles. So this guy is truly a pioneer, when it comes to Paso Robles. I love Tablas Creek, but I mean, to deny that Gary Eberly had a big hand in this, would be an understatement. So this is their little Kotsu Robles. So this is a blend of 54% Grenache, 38 Mourvedre, 8% Syrah. In a nutshell, to describe this wine. Grenache, so all these grapes are from the Southern Rhone, hence why the name Côtes de Robles is like a little gimmick on, the word Côtes de Rhone. But Grenache, the best way to describe it, tastes like red raspberries and juicy fruit. Really refreshing, really juicy. And then there's Mourvedre. Mourvedre, it takes some love. Have you ever ridden a horse at a carnival or a pony? That's what that tastes like.
At a carnival, no.
It's just, it's horse funk. That's the best way to describe it. Okay. And then Syrah can be this beautiful, meaty, black olivey kind of, grape. So when you blend high profile fruit with some, horsey funk and then the savoriness of Syrah, you end up with a pretty damn good wine. So shall we open it?
Guess we shall.
Alrighty. So I went on this blurb before the show about how much I detest seeing bottles that aren't foiled properly. So yeah, we'll save that for another day. But so this wine is absolutely bonkers good. Oh my God, we always say this with burgers. It's like just soft, juicy red wine like this with like a double bacon cheeseburger.
That's what you
God. Now, I will say this as well. I love Everly, but I absolutely hate the use of their synthetic corks. It's like they are so much harder to get out. Yeah, it's like they're just... I mean, some of them are... I'll let you actually look at that there.
I never learned pain until I realized what the heck all you winos were talking about when you were talking about the different cork types. I was like, there's cork types? Don't they all just use cork?
Right, you would think. And it's funny enough that, it's like everyone calls this a cork when in reality it's an agglomerate cork. So, yeah, no, natural corks, I mean, there are some arguments for, some arguments against. Pretty much the argument for, is more sustainable. Argument against is that, well, a cork tree to grow that thickness of bark takes many, many years. So maybe not might be so sustainable. But yeah, so this wine is just crazy good. That's the best way I can describe it.
Is there a cork pop? Did you get the cork pop on the microphone?
No, because these stupid goddamn synthetic corks on is romantic.
They don't pop?
Well, I mean, they do pop, just not as effectively as the cork.
I'll give you guys this.
Oh my God, can you smell this? It just smells like Hawaiian punch.
I'm going to smell it in a second.
It's like this wonderful little elixir of like... You're right. It's like, it's fruity. It almost reminds me if like strawberry Fanta had a baby with like cranberry pineapple juice. Just on the smell alone. And then when you taste it, it's just soft, juicy, refreshing, super easy to love.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Now tell me this will not taste delicious with a double bacon cheeseburger. You get all that greasy, salty, meaty, smoky, and then you just guzzle it down with this juicy, refreshing red wine.
Mr. Victor, you got me all fucked up because I had a basic burger from McDonald's yesterday. But my point being is I already went out for some fast food, and now you're making me feel like I have to do it again, but I can't because I just went big ass grocery shopping.
Again, you can still drink this tomorrow, and then.
All right, fine.
But I mean, as you can tell, it's just such a refreshing, light, easy drinking wine. And the price on this, I think, is maybe like about, $15 to $25. It's not terribly expensive.
Oh, sign me up. That's my price point, baby boy. Producer. Ex-producer.
Oh, Nicole's here. Hi, Nicole.
You want to try some? Our ex-producer is here. Here you go.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Oh,
we got a pretty good.
That's the first time I ever heard that about a red wine.
Can we have the Nicole scale right here? Pretty good.
On a scale of 1 to 10 for red wines, where would you put this?
Like a 6.
That is pretty goddamn high. Because for the most part, you're like, not really.
No reds.
Isn't it just how nice how like this is just so refreshing and easy to drink? Like there's no bitterness, there's no like hard acidity.
Yeah.
Now, could you see this with a burger?
Yeah. Yeah. Are we getting burgers?
No, he had one yesterday, so we're not getting burgers today, sadly. But you guys could have one tomorrow.
I guess.
So yeah, I think this bottle of wine is damn good for the price.
I'm just gonna hold it.
I mean, it's not going to age very well, but I mean, again, some wines you just want to have them on a Tuesday, Monday night and just enjoy them.
Yeah.
And I think this one does a damn good job.
No, Mr. Victor, while we're enjoying ourselves sipping, we're on the sipping part of the show. I feel like there's some emotions that I need to get out from previous episodes that I just feel are necessary. Now, I won't necessarily call them redactions. I'll keep the pairing as is, but in my mind, there's one thing that I feel I need to correct. What was it, like episode 3? 2 or 3, we were talking about sake. We're talking about the Tozai Snow Maiden.
Oh yes, the sake.
And I was agonizing because you pulled a fast one on me and said, "Give me an anime." When I had a nice video game locked and loaded in my so-called gaming gun barrel. I don't know what I'm trying to say. And so I was just like, oh man, I had a scramble in my brain, and I just said Code Geass because you gave me a sake that was so sake that it's like Japan, and I was like, what's an anime that's so Japan? And I was just like, well, this one's about to fight for Japan, whatever. But I have since then realized the error of my ways, because I realized
honor has approached the bench.
And so I realized, I was like, wait, how did I not talk about one of my I'm going to say one of my distant favorite animes. And I say distant because I can't quite recall specific episodes, but I know the vibe.
The vibe.
I know the story, and I know the nostalgia of watching the show, which actually recently had a resurgence. It had a reboot new season that came out like last year. Or I think this year, But the point is, I'm about to talk about an anime for a previously pitched Tozai Snow meeting, and it is called Rurouni Kenshin. Now,
Rurouni Kenshin.
It is an anime about a samurai
Japan.
in a stylized feudal era Japan, although...
Oh my god. So I don't want to interrupt you too much, but in undergrad, I had to do this research paper on the different feudal states of samurais or for Japan. So, oh my god. How historically accurate is this anime?
From what I recall, I believe it spanned a good number of episodes before they introduced a god, and Rurouni Kenshin's like, the fuck? But he fucks people up anyway, so it doesn't even matter who has a god.
For you history nerds, watch this. I will be watching this because, oh my god. So there's a whole bunch of stupid shit you learn in college, and I mean a bunch of stupid shit. I'm not saying this is part of it. I'm not. I mean, I love Japanese history and whatnot. But a lot of stuff, you go there and you're like, when the hell am I ever going to, revisit this in real life? It's like I'm studying bacteria, viruses, and protozoa and dumb shit, Right. And then, you have those stupid, other required classes that you have to take that you're like, this is going to do nothing for me. Part of it was history. I had to learn about the goddamn banana wars in Central America. No one in my life has ever asked me about the banana wars. They were real. They were a thing. People died. But no one has told me about the banana or asked me about the banana wars.
People died over bananas?
Oh my god, it was this whole thing that involves the Dole Company as well. I'm pretty sure you've seen a Dole or Chiquita bananas.
Of course.
But anywho, so then...
next episode.
Right? So we're going to talk about, the empiracy of, tropical pineapple fruits. But yes, so I had to learn about feudal states in Japan and about how, this samurai clan or whatever, this thing. I already forgot a lot of it because I kid you not until right now have I thought about this in the past 12 years.
No.
It's been a minute. But when you said feudal, I'm like, that unlocked a little treasure box that I had buried in, the cellar of my brain that, had not been activated since 2012. Mm-hmm. So thank you. I will be watching this anime regardless of what it's about now because it's like feudal states in Japan. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. But anywho, go on.
Yes. So Rurouni Kenshin is a feudal era style Japan about a legend of the man named Rurouni Kenshin. I forgot what his nickname in the show is. It's probably something demon, whatever. But he's just known for being one of the most ruthless and quietest and just violent killer ever. But the gimmick of the show is when you first meet him, he's kind of like this goofy, down to earth, just kind of aloof guy, and you meet him and he's just so unsuspecting. It's just they're just they're the one of the main characters of the show, and I apologize, I'm forgetting names and stuff like that. Again, I haven't watched the show so long, but when I thought of it, I was like, this is going straight on my watch list. I'm gonna mark my words, by next episode I'm gonna watch at least the entirety of the old show before I watch the new one. But anyways, so like I said, one of the main characters, the girl, is she's like, there's something about this man. He just has this weird strong energy to him and whatever. So she kind of comes curious to him, and then he meets him and he's just like, oh, what's up? What's going on? It's like, why do you carry this sword? He's like, oh, a sword, crazy times in Japan. And it's like, oh, what and all this stuff. And then she's like, well, you're all up in my business for whatever story related reasons. What's going on with this sword? Let me see this sword. She pulls out his sword. And he's just like, what the fuck? Your blade is backwards. Because from the hilt to the handguard and everything, it faces forward. But when you pull the sword out, the blade faces towards you. Mm-hmm. And she's like, what the fuck is going on here? And he's just like, oh, whatever. I'm a bad sword. I bought a bad sword. I'm nobody. And it turns out he has this very specific, particular sword fighting style where he's just fucking ruthless with this thing. But he's like on some sort of weird redemption arc where he's just like, I don't want to really kill any people anymore. So he'll hit people with the blunt side, which is now the front side towards the enemy. He'll hit him with that or the side.
Oh, he does that to protect them.
Yeah, but if he needs to, and there are some dark episodes where he needs to, he'll cut a bitch down. And it's just he's ruthless when he has to be, but like he's just like, whatever, I'm just a wandering swordsman, man.
That reminds me so much of, I was telling you earlier about, the To Kill a Mockingbird, when Atticus Finch, so it's like he's this lawyer that like tries to be all proper or whatever, and then the sheriff comes to him one day because there's this really creep weirdo, wandering the streets. And the sheriff's all like, you still got it in you, Atticus, or something like that. And he's like, I don't want to do it or don't want to do it. And then he's all like, he's coming closer or something like that. And then he gives Atticus the gun and like shoots him like straight right in the middle of the eyes. And then so little does Atticus know that his kids are watching this go down. And like earlier they were saying, oh, our dad does nothing. He's not special for anything. He's just, a stupid lawyer or something like that. And they see that they're like, and then okay, full disclosure, this book is a little racist. So they're black, not slave, but homekeeper of sorts. I think her name is Caperna, something like that. Mm-hmm. She's all like, did you not know that your daddy, was like the best marksman during his grown-up times? As in he could shoot anything, like dead on. Right. And it's like, Atticus now just tries to be low profile, doesn't do anything. So I don't know, that just reminded me of that. Like, you got this badass that's holding it back because he doesn't want to show off or doesn't want to kill people. But when he has to, he does it.
That's right. So yeah, the whole point of all of this is that if I can redact it, I don't know, can we redact things on this show?
I would say we can.
We make the rules.
This is very Japan, I think. This is very Japan.
When I think Tozai Snow Maiden, retrospectively, I think Rurouni Kenshin. Feudal Japan, it's part what he drinks or what his enemies drink, like before they realize that he's on their doorstep ready to fucking kill him or knock him out. That's just what it is. And Snow Maiden's, he's just like a little aloof. He's just kind of just there. He's just like, oh, he's not gonna hurt anybody. But when Saki hits you, especially in the head, when it's late at night and you're just like, oh, and you just wake up, and you're like, oh fuck. God damn it, I had too many sake.
Yeah, I see. I can't imagine that. I want to live that. Like, get shit-faced off sake, wake up the next day hungover off of sake.
I heard a sake hungover is brutal.
Well, I mean, it's what, a bunch of carbohydrates? Yeah, I mean, I could see that totally being that. But still, again, it's like, I'm not 21 years old anymore. I can't survive a hangover like that.
So you're saying you don't want to slam down Negronis and sake bombs with me? I want to, but my body can't.
Yeah, I'm like, I do. I'm like, I'll slam the Negroni down regardless. But it's like, the moment you throw sake in that mix, it's like, I respect you too much because I know what you are capable of doing, Mr. Saki or Mrs. Saki. I don't want to disrespect you there.
All right.
It's like a fireball hangover. Ever heard of one of those?
I had a lot of fireball, but I don't remember my hangover.
Oh, you don't get hangovers, huh?
No, yeah. In my youth. They
oh my God, your youth. We're 90s babies, by the way.
10 years old. Or 10 years ago, I mean.
I was going to say 10 shit. Years old.
No, I didn't drink while I was 10. No. No, yeah, it's like one of those new smart tech pants and like water. Like the hangover just slid right off me. I would wake up with like nothing. Like not even like that little twinge between your temples and whatever this is, your bridge of your nose.
So envious.
I wouldn't even wake up doing this. I just wake up and be like, oh, I drank last night. Let me call my friend. Hey, how are you? Fuck you. Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe you don't feel anything, you fucking asshole. And I'm like, I'm ready to go to school. I'll meet you there, 7:00.
To be young and hangover free. But nowadays, still got it?
Oh no. I forgot which episode we went like slightly hard on, but no, I woke up.
That was the one with the Cola Riesling.
Yeah, I woke up and I was just like, what the hell?
Oh, we were like, I'm not 22 anymore.
Oh, I didn't drink water. That's what it was.
Yeah, I got my handy dandy water bottle over there.
Okay. All right, but
I have a question for you, my good sir.
But yes, go ahead.
So, I know of this video game and it's very popular. And I've butchered the name of it now 7 times. All I can tell you for now is it starts with the word star, and it ends with the word have faith in me. No, have faith in me. I know this.
Have faith in me.
Have faith in me. Believe in me. Field.
Yes.
Starfield.
Yes.
Made by Bethesda.
Bethesda Softworks, yes.
I know this game has been out, like, hyping up over the past few years.
Yes, it came out
So,
right? No, the 6th.
for early release, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts on it?
Okay. So for those
Because I have a wine pairing for it.
for those who've seen the last episode, I was gushing about this game. I was gushing about it pre-release because I was just like, I know what Bethesda games are. So like to apply like the Bethesda storytelling with like the vast wonders of space, you know, you're flying through the infinite darkness and you're just and you got like laser guns and you're just like, oh, and all your choices matter because it can affect a very small civilian to either turn against you or to praise you throughout the galaxy, and then you become a hero or whatever, or you just die weird silly deaths because you're just like, oh, they shot me in the jetpack and now I just exploded. All the vastness of choice and exploration is what I was praising that previous episode. But let me tell you how I feel about Starfield now. I have bouts of disappointment. Overall, I think it's still what a Bethesda game is and what you should expect. But there are bouts of disappointment. Let me start from the beginning. Okay, so Bethesda games are known for, I just said, storytelling and exploration. The storytelling in the main story, it opens the door and kicks you out. You know, it's like when you're 8 and your parents are just like, yeah, you're gonna go outside and play. It's just like, I'm watching a movie, and they're like,
no, get out.
And they're like, no, they put you out, and they're like, don't come back until the sun goes down. And that's what it does, because like you're just like, the game starts and you're just like, oh, you touched the rock. Have an adventure. Bye. Get off this planet. And it's just like, why? And it's just like, because wonder is about that. Like, you know, you touched a rock and you saw visions, so clearly you're the chosen one. Get out. And it's just like, okay, fuck. And then all of a sudden you meet this group who's just like, the main purpose of our group is to go out and find the wonders of the galaxy. And you saw visions when you touched a rock, so you're with us now. It's like, can I decline? Not really. Come on, let's go. So it's just like, all right. So the story kicks off and you're just like, that's so weird how other games gave you like a purpose of saving the kingdom.
Exactly.
Fucking defeating the evil. And this one's just like, you're special for...
Exactly. So they just get out there, explore.
So it's just like, fine. And right, it tells you to get out and explore, but you can't explore. Because when you think of exploring, you think of your 2 feet, your vehicle, and just literally going through any road, off beaten path, or over mountains like previous games. Not this one. You're on a planet. Do you want to go to space? I sure do. Do you expect to get in a ship, prepare a fucking launch off, and then just rocket straight into the sky? Guess what? That doesn't happen. You see a loading screen. And then you're like, okay, I guess I'm in space now. Ooh, there's a planet. I want to land on it. Do I blast through its atmosphere, feeling the heat and the shake, and then just fucking, and then like the clouds part, and then I can see the floor, and I just land on it, and I'm just like, wow, I am completely somewhere else. No, you don't experience any of that. You see another loading screen. So it's just like, okay. All right, what else did Bethesda say I will see in the vast wonders of space? Freaking space dogfights and dodging asteroids and like surviving the fucking electromagnetic fields and like whatever crazy shit happens in space, radiation or whatever. No, you fight another ship like once every 3 missions, and then see a loading screen because you're landing somewhere else. Just
loading screen after loading screen after loading screen.
So it's like, okay, So I don't feel the wonders of actually moving from point A to point B. Okay, well, it is a Bethesda game. So if they're not going to give me exploration, then they're going to give me storytelling. It's like, well, like I alluded to, the main story doesn't really give you anything. It's just like, go find some rocks that give you more visions. Okay.
Literally kick rocks.
But if you go off but if you go off the bean path, don't touch grass, go touch some rocks. If you go off the bean path and you find the numerous, maybe even endless side missions where like you're walking down to like a space city, like a glorious space city, and you're just like, oh wow, look at all these shops and ooh, and then all of a sudden you hear someone talking out the side of your ear, and you're just like, oh, what's going on over here? And this guy's gathering a crowd, and he's just like, we're all in danger. There's a meteor heading right for us, and you're just like, hey, crazy guy, what are you talking about? They're like, there's a meteor in space. Oh my god! And then you talk to him, and you're just like, this is like not part of the main mission. There's like just some guy who's just like yelling, and you decide to talk to him, and he's like, oh, why don't you go into space? And you go over there and you realize it's not a meteor. It's like the tiniest rock that just happens to hit his radar, and it's just like, and you're just like, and you have to see a loading screen, go into space, see another
goddamn loading
see a loading screen coming back down, and tell him it was nothing. And you're just like, oh, sorry. And it's just like, oh, that's some Bethesda zaniness where you think you're just, oh. But then you'll find like a family, right? The type of family where like they kind of hate each other because like one entered the star system just wanting to be a farmer and just have a settled life. But then these other families come in here and just like, oh no, this one's rich and I disagree with rich people, and like, oh, all those other things. So like they've been backstabbing each other for like eons, for like 30 years, right? Eons is not 30 years. If that's true, then I'm an eon years old. And then you talk to all of them, you figure out their disagreements, you use your speech skill to persuade them to just agree with each other, face the actual conflict that they have, and that's that space pirates are out to destroy their entire territory and claim all your salvage. And they're like, oh shit, we are in danger. And then you use your speech skills to be like, just get over it. And they're like, oh, okay. And it's like, and that's just because you just happen, when you came out of the loading screen, you just so happened to be flying by another planet and you caught someone's transmission. That's cool. That's genuinely awesome to be like, I'm going about my business and I'm learning about other people's lives, their problems, their conflicts, and you have the ship and the manpower to just brute force everything back to the way it was. And I think as traditionally games with like power male fantasies, that you're just like, that's what I want to do. I want to like come in here, shoot a bunch of shit, and solve everyone's problems. And that game does it wonderfully, and the side missions do it better than the main mission about touching rocks. So it's just like, it has its up and down.
So the $1 million question is, are you holding out that it will get better?
It is one of those games. Every gamer on the internet hates this, by the way. They hate when they hear this. They hate when they hear that it's one of those games that you have to play for 12 plus hours until it gets better. Because no one wants to hear that. The people who care about gaming, they don't mind hearing that. The people who are just like, I play like 4 games a year and everybody's talking about Starfield. Is it actually that good? Everyone's talking about Starfield because it's kind of controversial in the sense that everyone has a conflicting opinion about it. It's not actually controversial. But if we're talking about the actual definition of controversial instead of what the fucking internet thinks it is, putting gate behind everything, it's just differing opinions. And they're just like, I don't want to invest 12 hours. Like, I'm not going to watch a movie for 2 to enjoy the last hour. So, same concept.
So you ready for your parent on this one?
Yes.
Because from the moment that I learned of Starfield and have heard all these beautiful things of it on Twitter, on Threads, on, my IGN, feed and whatnot, I was like, man, only a specific style of wine, but only one specific house that makes this wine can give me such a conundrum of both utter hatred, pure love, and just flat out confusion. And that belongs to this lovely champagne that is known as Lanson Black Label Champagne.
Lanson Black Label, the touching rocks of wineries.
So there were so many different reasons why this champagne gravitated. Oh my God, I hate that pun. So there were so many different reasons why this champagne came into my orbit. Oh my God.
You keep doing it.
Oh. So this specific champagne, known as the Black Label for Lanson, is my favorite champagne. Not because of what it is, but because of the goddamn roller coaster of emotions you go through when you are dealing with this champagne. So this champagne is the epitome of, imagine you are standing in front of a giant salt rock, right? Mm-hmm. And your instinct is to go and lick this rock and to see what this rock tastes like. And you just get salt. That is what Lanson to me tastes like, but with like a little bit of brioche, maybe some fried egg, and like the daintiest bit of like, toasted walnuts. That's what it tastes like. But here's where it gets wild.
Okay.
So from the moment you open it, you will get this smell that, have you ever lit up like a matchstick, like by hand, like the olden days?
Yes, I have.
So that's what this champagne smells like when you first open it. And you're like, what the fuck is this? Because most champagne, when you open it, smells like bread or toast, or vanilla or something along those lines.
Right, yeah.
But this one, you're like, what in the sulfuric hell is this? And you're like, at first, you're like, this bottle of champagne is like $60. I don't know how I feel about this. And then you look at it and you're like, it's a little pale. And then you do some research on the back of the bottle and you find out, oh, this thing has not gone through something called malolactic fermentation. So ML fermentation, long story short, is where you get this acid that is like the acid you find like in strawberries, and then it turns into the acid you find in milk. So it goes from being zesty to creamy. So most champagne houses put their champagne through this. So you get a really buttery, toasty, almost imagine an Eggo waffle kind of flavor in these champagnes. Lanson says, fuck that, I am not doing that. You are going to get pure, unadulterated malic acid. So you are going to get the enamel on your teeth wiped off because I said so. So it puts you through rounds and rounds and rounds of oral abuse. Oh my God, that sounded really bad.
From one bottle or from
just multiple sips of this champagne?
Their portfolio.
So, none of them go through ML. That's what I love about Lanson, is that it's this like, it abuses you. It, mocks you. It taunts you. This is what I always find as that loading screen. Lanson, every time I drink it, I'm like, are you anything else but this goddamn acid? And with Starfield, it's like this fucking loading screen just mocks you. You're like, where am I going? Like, can you give me some purpose, man,
That's so perfect.
And so with Lanson, though, it's like eventually, the bubbles leave. It gets some air. And then it becomes this beautiful, like, it's so rudimentary, and the winos are going to hate me for this. But the best analogy I could give you, once all that goes away and you've invested the time into putting up with this goddamn bottle that you think is just going to be, sour apple juice all year long, out of nowhere, all you taste is a KFC biscuit. Perfectly hot, toasty, fluffy, steamy hot, buttery biscuit.
I do love those things.
But with maybe, imagine like a little tiny bit of like lemon meringue pie or key lime pie. But it takes time to get there. These Lanson champagnes can age incredibly well because of that. But let me tell you, each and every time I drink one, it beats the living hell out of me. Because I know I'm going to have to wait. I know I'm going to have to look at this or taste this goddamn acid and be like, when am I going to get to the meat of this goddamn champagne? Most champagnes are like open for business right away. Lanson says, you got to wait, buddy. I'm too good for that. So, yeah, that is my official pairing with this Starfield game.
Amazing. I have a question, though.
Yes.
You made me realize this. Okay. So with things with Lanson or things like Lanson, sorry, I was just wondering if our customers from our undisclosed place ever asked us this question, and not they never asked me, but anyway, my question is like if things like that where like it's just better to just kind of wait it out, let it age a bit in a bottle or whatever you have to do to get it to the KFC biscuit stuff. Do people ever ask us how long it's been on our shelves, or is it like a temperature thing where it's just better to just have it in your cellar or where you need to store it properly?
So at that undisclosed location, temperature is always pretty good on the inside of the store. Mm-hmm. Now, Lanson also does this cool thing where most champagnes nowadays, some of them tell you, some of them don't. But Lanson has always told you when its disgorgement day was. That's pretty much, think of it the day it was born. Mm-hmm. So it'll tell you like, oh, I was born on 6/20/21, or like 6/20/18. So with Lanson champagnes, the black label, standard one, that's the one everybody can buy. It's, if you can get it on a deal, it's like $45. If you looking at average price, $50-$60 is the normal. But with the Lanson Black Label, I find 5 years is the minimum. Wow. Open that bad boy before 5 years. Imagine that loading screen, but for 10 years. It's like that wine is going to go bad before you find out what it truly is. And I have a feeling that with Starfield, eventually it will get better. It's like, this is Bethesda after all, right? It's like they have this pedigree of making great games. It's like people wouldn't be hyped up for years over this game if they didn't have a reason to believe it. Lanson has been around since the year 1760. It's like these guys have the history. I know they make great champagne, but god damn it, I hate it. But I love it. It's like, it's one of those things,
That's the perfect pairing, yeah.
It's like, that's why with Starfield, I'm my Lanson Black Label. That's my winner for this one.
What's the sad thing, though? Is that there's a different developer that has done these ideas correctly. Mm-hmm. And we have to pair this game one day, but I want to play it more because I haven't played it since what I'm about to talk about. Okay, so there's this game called No Man's Sky by I wish I remember the developers' names. It's their logo is like right here in my frontal cortex lobe, whatever you call it. But anyways, they made a game called No Man's Sky, and before the game came out, the guy promised you that there's like space exploration, that there's endless alien species, that there's endless planets, that you can travel to thousands, millions planets, maybe not millions, but just like endless planets you can visit, and that they're all different. They all have their own ecosystem, they all have their own atmosphere, they all have their own conditions. Some are unlivable, some of them are livable, some of it's like crazy expansive ideas that you've never heard in video games before. They're like, that sounds impossible. There's not a video game engine in the world that can handle that kind of shit. And when it came out, it couldn't. He overpromised and underdelivered. The game director that was saying that you can do all this stuff. And the game came out to poor reception, just straight annihilated from the critic websites and from fans and stuff like that. But to their credit, they took like 3-4+ years making the game better. Mm-hmm. Every expansion they came up with got closer and closer to the original promise that they made. And now now with their latest expansion, like that's exactly what the game is. You can be on a planet, get in your spaceship, prepare your launch, fly up through the atmosphere, hit the stratosphere, go warm up, go all of the thing, and then you're in space. And then if you want to go to another planet, you look at the actual stars in the systems that you can see with your bare eyes, point at it, and then hit your grav drive and go, and then you'll do that for like a literal, like depending how far it is, like a literal 20 minutes of grav space jumping. Mm-hmm. And then you'll get close, slow down, hit the atmosphere, go through the burning process, and then land all in real time.
So now let me tell you this.
But the best part is it feels amazing to do it. And there's all the other things. There's the fighting, there's the things, there's exploring, there's aliens, there's settlements, there's outposts you can build. All of it. It can happen. But for some reason, Bethesda didn't do it. And here's the thing.
They didn't, or they didn't want to?
They Maybe they didn't want to. Most likely they didn't want to. But here's the thing. This developer did it. They took a game that was like just kind of screwed up and then made it better. There's another developer, CD Projekt Red, who released a game called Cyberpunk 2077. Came out, was not what it was promised, kind of sucked. Worked on it, made it better. But Bethesda does not have the track record of fixing games that came out broken.
Mm-hmm. So you're fucked.
So we might be fucked. I was hoping they'd patch it to actually lift off into space. Not that that's its only problem, but it's one of them. But anyways, I digress.
So now let me ask you this. When you play Starfield, and let's go with the assumption that it will get significantly better. Yeah, I know this one is damn good. The more it opens up, the better it is. Compared to the other game you were talking about, the first one, not the second one. The one where like you can feel real time, you're burning through the atmosphere and whatnot.
No Man's Sky, yes.
Yeah, No Man's Sky. So how much of a gratification are you going to feel when you finish No Man's Sky versus when you finish Starfield? Because sometimes, the road to pleasure is paved with pain.
Well, technically, you can't finish No Man's Sky.
What?
It's just constant exploration. That's the point of the game. There is a storyline, but you can not touch it at all if you don't want to.
You're kidding me. So this thing is on an endless loop, pretty much.
Oh, hell to the yeah.
Oh my God. What is Dormammu, pretty much from Doctor Strange? This is...
Dormammu? Oh, what? You're going to pull out Dormammu?
Is that what No Man's Land is?
That is probably like the most nerdiest thing you've ever said in our entire knowing of each other.
I'm learning. And the only reason I know about that is because I saw it on Reddit earlier.
Okay.
Because this kid kept on counting 30, but they kept on saying 25, 26, 22, 20, 27, 22, 24. And the comment said, Dormammu, are you there? Let's talk. And I had to go look up who Dormammu was. Yeah. That's how I learned it. It wasn't an honorable learning, but yeah.
Sorry, I was kicking myself not knowing the developer. The developer is Hello Games for No Man's Sky. And that game came out in 2016. And right before the pandemic hit, they made not one of the best games ever, but everyone loves it now. They went from absolutely despising it, sending death threats to the developers, which should never happen.
Guys, don't do that.
And then now everyone's like, I play this game every single day.
Maybe that will be Starfield one day.
One day. But yeah.
So shall we talk about the beer you have selected for us today?
Before we keep going with the show. All right. I'm excited about this one because, again, this is another clash between our two worlds. This is from Cellar Maker Brewery Company, which I do not have a Mr. Victor brain encyclopedia about who this company is. But I do know that they make really good stuff.
That's all that matters. Tastes good.
Sometimes that's where our customers used to be. You would give them a whole 20-minute spiel, and they'd be like, okay, but does it taste good? And am I going to get drunk? Like,
exactly.
Yes. Anyways. So yes, Cellar Maker makes great stuff. They made a beer called Galaxy Blaster, and it has amazing fucking Galaga-inspired art with like the little pixel starship. Works for our episode,
right? Without even trying,
and like little aliens. I'll give it like a little close-up shot for you guys in the post and all this stuff. So this is a hazy IPA, 6.8%, and a little fun little blurb that says 100% Galaxy hopped.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. And that's about what I'll say. Some of these, I don't know if they're small, but some of these smaller breweries are always just so like, yeah, that's it. That's all you need to know.
Is that Plankton from SpongeBob?
This guy right there.
Looks like Plankton. Ahoy, you matey. SpongeBob in space.
So let's enjoy this. Post Victor, because I always feel embarrassed when I feel like I want to talk more about something I don't know. Go ahead and put some facts down here about some cellar maker.
No. There's no reason to feel ashamed about that.
I gotta hide the back end of this glass. Again, if you're...
Oh, Lord, it's one of those glasses.
If you're an Alex Juarez type, you know exactly what this glass is that I'm trying to hide.
Now, may I please, Sensei, have 2 ounces or more, because I want to put this on Untapped. But the gimmick is it has to be 2 ounces or more.
For that app?
Yeah, so I will reference this person by their username. It is spelled or phonetically McCanville for if you're watching.
Am I there?
Oh my god, that's more than 2 ounces.
I didn't know what 2 ounces was.
Well, I mean, is this in 2 ounces enough? You know. So we have this.
With this trigger tongue, what 2 ounces is?
Oh, yeah, I'm well above that.
Oh man, that's so much. Oh, I'm sorry.
We have this little bet going on for specifically a 2013 Ridge Montebello with who can drink more beer.
You just pour it in my glass.
No, I'm gonna finish this because there ain't no going back.
Oh shit, I know.
This smells like. Oh my god, this smells like.
Yeah, since
Florida's own, like.
Since again I'm out of my league with Victor, and also the plain fact that I haven't had this yet, we can describe it as we go instead of the nice spiel that Victor loves to give us.
How is this not bitter?
Okay, here we go. So we never had this before. I got a bit of nut on the first sniff.
I smell like, I don't know. It almost reminds me of a Sauterne. Like I get like pineapples, I get peaches, I get mangoes, I get guavas. I get like a tiny bit of like a skunky scent. I get like cardamom.
Yeah, slight skunk. I'm getting mostly is it a tangerine? What's the closest to a tangerine?
Ooh, let's see. You have the mandarin, the tangerine.
Mandarin, that's what I want to say.
You have the clementine. You also have them dried.
More.
Wow, this is like very
more mandarin than the other thing you just said. Clementine.
Ripe papaya meets a Cangelo.
Shall we have a taste?
Cheers, or chin chin, or Prost.
Salut.
Or, how did I just forget to say it in French?
Kampai.
Kampai?
That's Japanese.
Kampai senpai. Not hentai.
Yeah. Hear my sips.
Dude, this tastes like juice. Like, there is like no... How the hell is this thing 100% Galaxy hops, but absolutely no residual, like, quinine bitterness?
Yeah. This for a hazy IPA, this does not fight you at all.
No. How many IBUs does this thing have? Like 10, if that?
Oh, that's what I meant to say. The information is so sparse with smaller people that they're just like, you'll get it, you know.
Yeah.
So no IBUs in that can anywhere.
6.8. Oh, not bad.
Yeah, that's the percentage per volume.
2 excellent beverages today. Wow, both just really soft and juicy and refreshing.
It's space theme, apparently.
Yeah, with a pig. Or a wild boar.
Hey, you never know. There might be boars on another planet as we speak.
Actually, I think where Gary Everly went to college, Penn State, I actually do think they have a cool aerospace/physics department there. Mm-hmm. So I think it is spacey. And I mean, Grenache is out of this world, specifically Syrah.
Yeah. I thought it might be fun to be like, since we're live drinking this, if I can live think of a game, but I've got nothing so far.
No, I can't. But in case you guys did not know, I may be known as the cheesy counselor, but Victor is the cheesemonger. Educate me real quick on that Gloucester Stilton cheese.
Let me tell you about the cheeses that I'm assassinating with my cheese wire. So at my new undisclosed job, I regularly handle the cheeses. I bring them out to our cheese counter, as we call it, and I slice them up into bits for the sake of our customers and for the sake of pricing. Because obviously, if we sell them a wheel, that thing's like $400. So we gotta slice it in a nice, sizable, between 10 to 15 chunks, $15 chunks. I mean, for our customers to enjoy. And one of them that I've decided to send a picture to Mr. Victor over here because it just looked lovely just to look at.
Like it is, and I'm sure it tastes delicious.
The picture I took, like you can almost taste the picture. Like it just looks so good. And the one that was coming for him was a Clausen's Creamery Hutzman cheese, and that is the I'm losing it again. Victor just said it, but yeah.
Gloucester Stilton.
Gloucester with blue Stilton in it. It almost looks like a 5-layer cake. In fact, it does look like a 5-layer cake because that's how they layered them.
Coronary arteries going like dunk 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 dunk.
And what I've yet to tell Victor was mere moments after sending him that picture that because my job is super nice and kind to me, there are times where you're just allowed to just slice off some pieces and just sample it for yourself. What? And dude, I'm eating cheeses all day. That's the perks.
That's the perks. Your job.
I know. You ended my job at first when I was just like, hey, did you know I'm reading these weird cheese PDFs, and you're like, can you please send it to me?
Yeah, like literally, I'm like, I want to know.
Did you successfly get that, by the way?
I did.
Okay, good. Because I don't remember if I had
So
a
full
text
disclosure,
or email
I used to teach classes on pairing cheese and wine. Never in my wildest cheese adventures did I venture into the realm of cheesecake. Like literally the Gloucester Stilton blend, like I think the weirdest we've gone has been Epoisset, Delice de Bourgogne, and oh my god, it's a tiny little shriveled up goat cheese. But anywho, this guy's just name dropping like Humboldt Fog and then this creamery and that creamery, and I'm like, bro, give me some cheese, man. Give me some cheddar.
Fucking what's it called? I'm forgetting it. No, something Moonlight Midnight. One of those. A fabulous goat cheese that is like my absolute favorite.
We need to have
and I sample it all the time.
We need to have like a cheese segment, I think. 30 seconds dedicated to the newest cheese that Victor's been slicing.
Editor Victor, cut this out. Editor Victor, cut back in.
I just died and went to heaven. Wow. Okay, well, anywho, so yes, that ends our cheese segment for today.
Okay. So yeah, it was a fun time. Man, we hit an hour, but I almost don't care. I kind of want to keep going.
Wow.
Because we almost didn't start the show yet. Right?
That is true.
So far, we've only been like redacting and revisiting. So.
And talking about Starfield and Lansing.
I almost feel like you have to go first because I'm kind of not ready, to be honest. Was there a wine you wanted to talk about this episode?
There is.
There you go.
So, are you ready for this one? So,
by the way, side note, I'm sorry to stop you. You have yet to do beers or spirits. I mean, you did a Negroni, but that's a cocktail.
So let's see. For this one, I will pass on the spirits, but the next one I will do a spirit.
Yes.
So this specific wine is going to be a tricky one for you.
Okay.
So I had this wine recently. Okay, so let's start. The vintage is 2009. This wine is sourced from the Loire Valley in central western France. The grape is Chenin Blanc, and the producer is Domaine Huet, spelled Huet. And the specific wine, so they make three of them. They make the Haut Lieu, they make the Clos de Bourg, and then they make a third one I can't remember right now. The one I had was the Haut Lieu. So, this is the 2009 Domaine Huet Haut Lieu Vouvray. Yeah, that's a mouthful. So,
Vouvray is the only word I recognize at all.
So, the Domaine Huet Haut Lieu, spelled HAUT-LEIEU.
Wait. Do I know this one?
You may.
Okay.
And then, so Domaine Huet Haut Lieu Moyo, spelled M-O... Ooh, this is going to test my French. M-O-E-L-L-E-U-X. Moyo.
Nicole's taking a French class. Nicole, say a French word.
Comment ça va?
Say it again.
Aujourd'hui. Comment ça va?
Comment ça va?
Avec toi.
Avec toi.
So where are you today?
Oh, très bien, très bien.
Très bien.
Oh, oui.
Oui. I love it. I love it. French was hard. I hated it, but I loved it because it made wine so much easier.
Yeah. It's nice. I like it. I'm not good at it, so that's my struggle.
It's because when you get like names like, say, Frédéric Esmonds and Géry Chambertin, Les Combet Grand Cru Bourgogne, you're just like, what in the holy hell is this? Like, there's just no way. But anywho, so the name of the wine is the 2009 Domaine Huet Haut Lieu Moyu Vouvray. So, 100% Chenin Blanc, no botrytis on this. The best way I can describe this wine...
Oh, do we have a fight? We're good.
We're good? So... when you open and pour this wine in a glass, the best way to describe what it smells like, imagine you have raw honey, almonds, and camembert cheese. That's what this wine smells like. It's cheesy, it's honeyed, it's nutty, and the color is like a pale golden yellow. And then you taste it. And have you ever experienced the smell of something called lanolin?
Lanolin.
It's like this little, I don't want to say it's a fat, but it's like this really sticky, it's derived from sheep's wool. So it's like this very unique, it's usually used in lotions, but it's like this like really weird greasy component that has a very unique smell to it. But it kind of tastes like that smell, but then it also tastes like dried peaches and apricots and like dried pineapple with a bunch of honey and like candied citrus. Very sweet. That wine blew my mind. I was like, man, this wine is just so tropical, so creamy, so cheesy. Just wow. So I don't know how else I could describe it, but my God, man, that wine with coconut fried shrimp was an excursion. I also had a little side of like spicy type of pie salad, but yeah, coconut fried shrimp, that Vouvray, and the papaya salad. I guess you could say when I was having that wine, all I could imagine is I'm sitting on, this beach out somewhere, on the Asian continent, looking at the palm trees, watching the waves roll in, thinking, man, I got not a worry in the world. I got these exotic flavors, these wonderful colors, this beautiful French wine. Is there anything, video game or movie or anime, that renders that feeling of just sublime relaxation, vacation? I am indulging in myself, and I feel bougie as hell doing it.
Ooh. Bougie. Vacation.
Tropical. And food. Please don't say Dragon Ball Z.
What the fuck? If you're hanging out with Master Roshi on his little mini island, you're not going to feel any of that. You're going to feel sexually harassed. If anything. Gosh darn. Ooh. I'm not gonna lie. That one throws me a little.
Full disclosure: this glass is empty. Using that for my beer competition.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. That's a meme. Sorry. Oh God. I feel like I could.
You got something, and please tell me it's not a hentai.
It's close.
Okay, it's pushing it, but it's not. That's all that matters.
Okay.
Please, no fuzzy lips.
Oh my God. Full disclosure. I've only played this game for an hour and a half. I did not get to the meat of this game. Prepare yourself for a video game called. Okay. The game is called Dead and Alive 3. Fuck. God damn it, I forgot the subtitle. Okay. I'm gonna look up the subtitle, but the main title, Dead and Alive 3, it is a fighting game. It is a fighting game that is fucking bananas wacky when it comes to its story and lore, because it's like about like cloned people and like fucking powers and things and assassinations, fucking conspiracy and stuff like that. But it is designed by a man who is absolutely hentai. He is a pervert.
Oh, Lordy.
Because the way he designs his female characters are big-breasted, big-bootied, slim waists, blonde hair, like blonde hair, orange hair, no matter what the hair color is, it's just bright and it's just like there. And like I'm so sorry to everybody. Can you tell I drunk alcohol?
Drunk or drink?
You motherfucker.
He did have like 2 extra glasses of wine, by the way.
Physics engine, I kid you fucking not. The physics engine, the thing that simulates physics, favors booby jiggle to unrealistic proportions, where like a woman can like move her pinky and her fucking breasts fly all over the fucking place.
So maybe it was Master Roshi after all.
I'm talking about Dead and Alive. You know Dead and Alive. I'm sorry, my girlfriend's looking at me. Anyway, Dead or Alive. So that's the vibe.
Who is Vegeta's girlfriend / wife?
Bulma.
Is she known for having big knockers and a big booty?
Not really. No.
Okay, I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking about that.
No, she doesn't. No. Okay. The game is called Dead or Alive 3 Extreme Volleyball.
Oh my god. Extreme volleyball.
Clearly, this is becoming a meme answer, but I'm just going to stick to it. Maybe I need another redaction.
I was going to say, or maybe you already visit later on.
Here we go. Okay, so the main game is a fighting game. There's a spin-off. Again, made by the same perfect game director, who's just like, these girls are so cool, they're so attractive, they're so powerful, they're so like whatever, that let's make a game where we put them on an island and they're in the world's tiniest bikinis, like almost see everything kind of stuff. But the main objective is to play mini games like volleyball, like that one where like it's a pole and you have like these giant floaties and you have to jump across them, kind of like lily pads, but without falling into the water. Like weird, silly, goofy sports, water sport, things like that. And you use that to gain points. You use that to gain points that you then use to spend in stores where you buy them gifts, because guess what? This game is also a faux dating simulator where you try to get these girls to like you. Not like you to date and kiss and fucking have a relationship with, but just like you, and to the point where if they like you, their stats shoot up and they get better at the sports. Mm-hmm. Also, there's gambling. You can go into the casino and play blackjack all day and fucking waste all your money. That game is tropical. That game is fucking, if you're that kind of crowd, if the audience is you, it's a dopamine hit. I won't say it's a dopamine hit because, again, I only played for an hour and a half and I was just like, whoa, this game is so pervy. And stuff like that. But, again, it's kind of a meme answer, but this is tropical. This is vacation. This is complete sweetness if you're just that kind of
if you want
clientele.
To indulge.
If you indulge in that stuff, like this, it's like.
Now the key word is it spicy?
Sit back. It is spicy. You sit back. you cross your arms like this. You play like that, and you have this wine, this fucking Chateau. What did you say?
Domaine Huet.
Domaine Huet.
Haute Lieu.
And you just play this fucking game. And you're just like, oh, saw some booty.
Damn.
That's what you do.
Sweet wine, awesome booty.
Sweet wine. That's what you do. Sorry. Sorry for our
debauchery.
Sorry for our wine listeners. Game listeners, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Wine listeners, my bad.
Just try it out. Just try it out.
If you claw out from your closet or attic your original Xbox or Xbox 360 and try to play this game.
So again, what is it that we have here? The original Xbox, or is this an Xbox 360? For the wine drinkers out there, not the gamers.
You are my best friend. But if you're anyone else, I would face palm so fucking hard. You just called this an original Xbox. That's so funny. This is the newest Xbox.
What?
On our featured table, we got ourselves an Xbox Series X.
That looks like a computer processor.
I know, right? So
this is an actual gaming system.
This is a gaming system.
Where does the little CD player go, or the little disc go in?
Yeah, right here.
It goes in sideways?
I was like, I wonder what's inside. It's not plugged in, obviously. Anyways.
Is there a green light on top, or is that?
Yeah, well, it's just green plastic.
Oh.
It's funny because all the promotional videos before this thing came out.
How do you know if it's like right side up?
I'll get to that. Let's see. So yeah, all the promotional videos before this thing came out heavily implied that the top part would have like lights that glow and like shone through all these like little grilled holes right here. Turns out it's just green plastic. Anyways, but yeah, how do you know which way is up? Depends how you live your life. This is up. This is also up.
What the fuck?
Right? And the only way to tell is because there's little feetsies right here. Little feetsies. And the exhaust is on the top anyway, so no matter which way it is. If you like gravity, then yeah, you probably want it this way. But if you don't care for gravity, then I guess the heat can travel a little bit this way and then up. And back here is where it takes in all the cool air.
What the hell?
Again,
It's a box.
if you care about how computers work, you want a lot of air, clean, fresh air coming in, and then exhaust out.
So you don't want to put this against the wall, then you want to make sure that's open to take in airs at once.
There's the thing. How do I phrase this? There's a well-known fact that every gamer should know, but no gamer knows, and that is stop shoving your consoles into really small, tight places like your TV consoles. Because guess where there's no air?
In those tiny places.
Inside of drawers.
People put their games in drawers.
They'll put them in drawers in tiny space against the wall. You'll get some air, but like if you want maximum flow, just put it on top of anything.
So just out of curiosity, like what's the longevity of these things?
Oh my God, Victor, don't even get me started right now. Okay. Now, you can get me started. I just want to say that they don't build them like they used to. And you can literally say this about...
Like cars.
You can literally say this about any category. Cars,
Refrigerators.
furnitures, houses, refrigerators, TVs, anything. Back in the day, we didn't give a fuck. They're like, make it out of metal. Make it out of fucking mercury. Make it
last.
It's just as long as it lasts forever and all that stuff. And nowadays, it's just like, we make less money if people buy less often. Make it out of plastic.
Wait, that's all plastic?
The front is. Make things out of plastic. Make things reliant on software. That way,
How much is this worth?
$600.
You know how many bottles of wine I could buy with that?
You can buy
You know how much
probably several cases.
Coors Light I could buy with that?
Coors Light, more than several.
$600, and this is gonna last how long?
Victor Villalbazo, what is the maximum you've spent on a single case of wine?
I refuse to answer. I plead the fifth.
I wanted to refuse to answer this, but this is the life I live.
But again, like this is exact. I mean, like you do video games. I do wine. But wine is like the moment you consume it, it's gone. It's like
that's the sad part. That's why I was just like, oh man, I could buy that case off of Ray, but one day I won't have it.
Yeah, it's like this bottle of wine will cease to exist the moment you consume it. All that's left is in your memory. You get Alzheimer's, you're fucked. This wine literally ceases.
That's dark.
Yeah, this wine ceases to exist the moment you forget about it. It's like this is one of those tangible intangibles. Which is why, honestly, the best way to make these wines live forever is to have them with a group of friends that you know will cherish that memory forever.
There you go. I was about to say.
But now this will live in infamy because it's going to be uploaded to the internet.
Would you categorize, maybe this might be another hour of the show, would you categorize winemakers as artists? Oh, wait, you rolled your eyes. I thought you were going to have like a slight positive spin, but now I feel like you're going to have a slight negative spin.
Oh, my God. Okay.
I just discovered something about Victor Villalbazo.
So not just about me, but just about any educated wine steward in the entire field.
Oh, God.
So, without going too much into this...
Did I open Pandora's box?
You opened Pandora's box.
Okay, fine.
So...
we are an hour and a half, so...
And any winery worth their salt... And when I say worth their salt means to my criteria and to the criteria of the French, of the Italians, of the Germans, of the Romanians, and many, many more, including Spain. I'm sorry if I forgot you in there. In French, there is no word for winemaker.
Oh. I'm learning something.
Not at all. In French, you don't make wine. You're a vigneron, or you are a négociant. Or there's another word I'm forgetting right now, but pretty much your job in France, like say you are in the holy grail of Burgundy, your job is to help these little grapes, end in the bottle. Mm-hmm. You are to not touch, manipulate, or do anything. You're supposed to let these grapes be these little, these grapes will turn into essentially a liquid that will provide the personality of this region. So let's say that our little town here was something to be proud of. We wanted to boast of it to the world. We would plant grapes here. And if we were doing things the traditional way, not the right way, but the traditional way, we would carefully let these grapes turn into wine. We would bottle that wine, and then we would tell people, hey, this is our little city personified. When you taste this wine, you are tasting our city. So in Burgundy, like if you're in the village, of Von Romani, it's like Von Romani, when you taste a wine from there, these things are so elegant, so delicate, so perfumey. But then you move, a little bit more to the north to Nuit Saint-Georges. These things are very citrusy. They're like very bergamoty, a lot of black tea, a lot of cardamom, some cinnamon. And it's just that these winemakers are letting the grapes speak for the region. Now, when I said winemakers, that's the English translation. Mm-hmm. If you try telling a wine producer in France that they're a winemaker, they'd be like, you're like, what? You are insulting me. Now, in California, different story. Right. So, let's start with this. At Tobless Creek, for instance, we had one of their wines, a couple weeks ago. What I love about what Jason Haas and the rest of the crew there do is that they take the model of the French. They let these grapes tell the story, of the Adelaida district and Paso Robles. Now, if they were a little bit less scrupulous and a little bit more winemaker, they would be adding some form of acidity. They would be adding this. They'd be adding that. They'd be doing this. They'd be doing that. There is this beautiful thing called mega purple that is used judiciously by a lot of wineries in Napa Valley. I'm not going to drop names, but it is used to make your wine taste fruitier, to make your wine, be darker, because the grapes are just that much shit that they're not going to do that on their own. To make good wine, it takes hard work.
Right.
And hard work costs money. So a lot of wineries in California and in the New World in general just prefer to take the cheaper route. One of my favorites is you pretty much, oh my God. There are so many aberrations in California. So in France, there's a whole bunch of rules, laws that pretty much dictate how you make wine, when you pick the grapes, how long you barrel it, when you can release it, how long it's supposed to be aged, what you can call it. In California,
they even have these fancy foils on their fucking things.
Exactly. They have little, like actual counterfeit stickers on there as well. But in California, we have none of that. We have freedom, which is great. But we also have no accountability.
The same thing about all of California. Innovation, no accountability.
Exactly.
That's why Silicon Valley is getting sued to hell right now.
Yeah, and it's also why a lot of wineries in California are successful, but people like me will never buy their wines. Because it's like a good example, I'll bring this our next session, is this beautiful winery called Ridge. Ridge is a historic property, and Ridge, they literally list their ingredients on their wine labels. One of the few, because they got literally nothing to hide. It's literally just yeast, water, grapes. That's all it is, with SO2, sulfites. Now, if I were to compare a Ridge to... You remember this expensive green label Cabernet that used to sell for $80? When you taste that is not what Cabernet is supposed to taste like. That is adulterated as fuck, made in a lab, made in a way that is meant to make people buy that wine. Ridge is an artist. They don't call themselves winemakers. They call themselves, wine stewards or, cellar hands or whatever. They're like, no, we're just helping these grapes transition into the bottle. Versus that other winery is like, you submit to me. You're not good enough. I'm going to add mega purple to you. I'm going to take away your acidity. I'm going to reduce your alcohol. I'm going to add more of this, more of that. It's more like a cookbook. And that is not artistry. That is adulteration. So that is my rant.
There you go.
So hear me. Buy Ridge. Don't buy other stuff that you know is not good for you. Yeah, sorry to get that out there. That was
like, I mean, phrases like you've said, of a few times before, is why I asked questions like that. It was because like it was just like, oh, well, it's like the grapes tell the story. I'm like, that sounds exactly what like a fucking artist would say about their brush strokes or some shit.
Yes,
and it's just like, and there are styles of making art that's like alla prima, which is like, I think that means doing a painting or an art in one sitting, or things that are avant-garde, which is just like kind of beyond the conventions of like making things. It's just like, I hear that language from winemakers sometimes, and I don't even visit that many wineries. I've been to like 4 of them.
So let me give you
and even outside of that, their press releases or the things they send us to our own old undisclosed work, I'd read it and be like, who the hell are these people think they are?
So let me give you a good example. Let's go back to our Lanson Champagne Black Label. So that is what I would define as artistry. So the Black Label is cool for so many reasons, but I would define that as artistry because the weather in Champagne is so fucking bad that you're not even guaranteed a harvest every year. As in, if it's not hailing, it's fucking snowing. If it's not snowing, it's raining. If it's not raining, it's a goddamn drought. If it's not a drought, you get all 3 of those, within a 2-day span. So the weather out there is so bad that they keep reserves of different years, ready. Yeah. And so with Champagne exclusively, I will say they are artists because every champagne house has a standard label. Veuve Clicquot makes the orange label. Tangier makes their white label. Bollinger makes their, grayish label. These are the standard champagnes. Now, the hard thing about champagne that nobody appreciates is that year in, year out. Now, in French, they have a different term. I forget what the term is, but they're not called winemakers. I think it's more like, like you're a chef de cave, which I think translates to like you're the chef of the house. Because your job is to, put it this way, like let's say me and you are winemakers in Champagne. We've been in Champagne since...
One day, you don't know.
Yeah, let's say we've been in Champagne since 1985. So let's say the vintages of 1987, 1989, 1991, 93, 96, 99, 2002, 2008 were great, right? So we have lots of that year available. We have, gigantic vats and barrels full of that stuff. But all those other years were kind of crap, with the exception of 2014. 2014 was kind of okay, but not great. So year in, year out, our job is to make one champagne to be released every year that tastes the same year in, year out. As in 1 year, we got to blend 87 with more of the 1982 with a little bit of 2003 with just a smidge of 2002. But guess what? Next year, we're out of that now. So we got to improvise and use 2014 as the base wine, but then go back to like 1989 for a little bit of complexity. So that is torture. You are blending different years of different variables together every single year, but to make it taste the same so that when you go buy that bottle of Veuve Clicquot orange label, you know what you're getting. The flavor never changes, but the blend always does. Champagne is true art. Wow. That is true art, and I do not envy them. Because imagine you are a Cristal drinker, and you know what Cristal tastes like. And God forbid, your Cristal tastes different. What are you going to do? You're going to lose a consumer there. Well, actually, no, Cristal's different because that is a vintage champagne. They're meant to be different. But like, say, Krug champagne per se. Right. Krug, it's like, unless it's the Clos de Menzel or the Clos d'Ambonnay, it's supposed to be the same.
I was this close to being like, I'm not sure Cristal people care because they listen to rap sometimes. Some of them do. So,
funny story about that, not to go on too long of a tangent, but Cristal at one point had a little bit of beef with Jay-Z. I don't know if you know this story. But Cristal pretty much said, we don't want to be associated with rappers, like you can go do something else. So then Jay-Z goes and just buys a champagne house outright. And that is now known as Ace of Spades.
Oh, that's right.
Cristal pretty much said, we don't want you guys, go buy something else, and then Jay-Z's like, fuck you, then I'm going to go buy my own champagne house, make my own.
I mean, I can understand the decision, but they probably want something slightly more glamorous, like the way, I'm forgetting who it was. Oh.
Moet.
Yamazaki, maybe? Whatever happened, like things like in movies where it's just like, oh, Lost in Translation had something in it where like Bill Murray was doing like whiskey commercials in the movie. Like his character was like a fucking spokesperson, whatever. And then they were just like, oh, awesome, I'm gonna buy the alcohol. Anyways, things like that happen in movies where like someone's mentions a wine or like
James Bond and Bollinger. He's always tied to that.
that's part of what I'm saying is Crystal probably wanted that. They probably never expected the rap scene. So they're probably like, ooh.
Yeah, they're like, ooh, what the hell? So
Anyways,
yeah, no.
It happens. Wow, what an amazing episode.
Yeah, full of tangents, be it on video games or wines or, God forbid, winemakers.
There we go. How about this? If you are a winemaker and you have an opinion on what me and Victor just discussed,
Yes.
please, absolutely, we would read every word of your email 3 times over. We would love to have this talk with you.
Be it if you agree with me or disagree with me.
Exactly. Over at podcast@speakeasy.net. My God, I would forward that email to you immediately. Anyways, but yeah, that's a good way to email us, to communicate with us the old-fashioned way. But if you love social media, go ahead and hit us up on Instagram, YouTube, comments, and the like. I believe we have threads as well, which I've just learned the other day. I didn't even finish setting up. I have the URL, obviously, the username, but I didn't put the bio. I didn't put the profile pic. I didn't put it just it looks like
whatever, you know. I think everybody in Threads is in this purgatory
like,
phase where they're like, is it a thing or is it not?
That is true. It is a new platform, but yeah, it just looks like a spam account.
Because I mean, like, let's see, what are the other 2 ones? There's not SoundCloud, Blue Sky.
Blue Sky, yes.
And then
Mastodon is. I'll explain Mastodon later, but yeah.
Yeah, so there's those 2 other ones. I don't think we're on those though, right?
No, we're not.
So.
I'm busy enough as it is. God, I don't want to ask this. I'm not going to ask it. It sounds too mean. It sounds too mean to ask for a social media manager who would love a job for the experience. Because Lord knows our show is yet to be making money. But
we're seeking an unpaid intern, is I think what we're saying. Cut that, please. Anywho, yeah. So.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good show.
And yeah, really good show. I enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. We would love to speak to you, with you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.